We're live. Hi, everyone. Okay, so yeah, I am back on the lives today. This is kind of exciting. Um, for this video, I want to talk about why this world feels like hell on Earth lately. I'll just give you a spoiler alert right now. It's because it is. It is hell. And I want to talk about how we get out of hell, what contributes to us being in this hell and creating this reality. And yeah, just to help us kind of really start to have some ideas of what's going on during this time. And also, I'm live, so I get to hear from you all what's going on for you around the world, how you're all doing. And if you're watching this video after the live, so you're watching the replay, please go ahead, click the like button, leave a comment below the video. I always respond to my comments. And also make sure you hit notifications on my channel because, as you know, YouTube has actively got it out for me. And also, if you put the notifications on, that way you can know when I'm going live, so you can always make sure you get a chance to join in. So yeah, I kind of want to talk about this. First of all, if you are only now just kind of looking at all of the, the crazy things going on in the world right now and looking at your life and your community and where you live and realizing that we're in hell, congratulations. Okay. A lot of us, a lot of people who watch my channel have been, we've had our eyes open from a very young age. I know myself, I was in grade school when I was first starting to look around at this world and just going like, what am I doing here? How did this happen? Is the purpose of life to walk back and forth to school for years so that I can live? And I used to walk past these middle class homes, where my friends lived, and I used to look at how their parents lived, and I'm like, okay, so I'm gonna grow up and I'm gonna have a house like this with like a backyard and an alley and a fence, and I'm just gonna work every day and come back to this house. Like, I'm going on vacation once a year. That's the point of life, right? This is to me, this was like the pinnacle of my life. And then I saw like nicer houses, and I was like, so is the nicer house the point of my life? Because then, like, I like it, but like, I don't see how this would ever sustain me. These are like, intellectually fulfill me emotionally. So yeah, and as many of you know, I grew up in a really abusive and neglectful household. But I also was really, I would say, privileged in that I got exposed to a lot of reading, a lot of nature. I used to go and live on a farm in the summers. I used to go to summer camps where I learned like, archery and horseback riding and whitewater rafting and all kinds of things. So I got actually a really well-rounded childhood. I feel if nothing in my life, I feel blessed that I was born in the generation before cell phones and the internet. Man, those were the times, in my neighborhood. You go to school and you had fun at school. I mean, on the playground in school, what you did at recess was, I remember me and my friends, we used to sit around in a circle on the grass and we used to talk. And I'm trying to remember what on earth we were talking about because I do not know. I remember one conversation where we were rating ourselves based on our looks. And I'll talk about that in a video I have coming up. But that's the only conversation I can actually remember. And we used to pull, some people would just sit there. Some people would fidget with things. I remember we figured out that you could pull a little blade of grass and there's a little white end on it. And you kind of chew that. So we used to pull grass and chew it and talk. And then after school, you do your homework or whatever and your chores and whatever else, if you were living in a household like mine, take care of the kids or whatever. But, there'd be people coming to the door all the time, right? You're like, can you come play? Right, it'd be me or my brothers like, oh, can John come play? Or, or if you were like sitting at your house and you want something to do, you don't have a phone, you don't have a computer, you read a book, or you go walk through the neighborhood and go knock on your friend's door. Like, hey, can you come out? You know? Or hey, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, can so and so come out? Like I feel just grateful. That was one. I have had many experiences in life I'm grateful for, but a normal childhood before the internet and technology and cell phones, that is one of them. So, so those of you who are just like waking up now and looking around and noticing like this is hell, like that's great. And the fact that you are noticing that something is off, that something is wrong, that's a good sign too, right? Because there are many people who haven't noticed this yet, right? They're just saying, oh, this is what's going on and this is what we have to do and let's just continue in the world, right? There are many people who just, they haven't really looked inside, done the inner work in life, and they haven't looked deeper. And so right now they're just kind of like, well, this is difficult. Life is difficult. They're not realizing what's happening. And so if you're wondering why the world feels like hell, it's because it is hell, right? Satan, Lucifer owns this planet, this world. This is the world that we live in. We live in a Luciferian world, right? And when I say that, I'm not talking about a religious element. A lot of religion has been corrupted by this Luciferian world as well. If you would like, go and look up the Pope room, the Pope's throne room, the Catholic Pope's throne room. Go look it up on Google Images and that will show you, right? They don't hide things. They have it all out in plain view for people who are actually looking. And you can see there's a lot of religious institutions that have been corrupted by this Luciferian society. But the thing is, these things like Lucifer and Satan and Jesus, these are elements of consciousness playing out in the human realm. Okay? And so that's what I mean when I talk about this. And you have different iterations and variations of this throughout all different world religions. All different world religions talk about the families that we're currently living under, the ancient evil families that we're currently living under that play this game out on us every 90 years. These are the bad people. We're going to have to get rid of them and do, put them all in an area. And, they do this every 90 years. We've seen this before. I saw a quote on Twitter that if you don't realize what's going on right now and you're not able to look back on history, it's like failing an open book test because the answers of what's going on right now have happened 90 years ago, not even, right? So yeah, so that's the reality. We are currently living in a Luciferian world. Satan rules this world, and that's okay. We had a model in Jesus who taught us how to overcome the world, right? That's what Jesus did. Jesus defeated Satan, whatever that means. For some people, religious people take that literally. People like myself, we may take it metaphorically, where we're kind of really just trying to look for the deeper level to things. And so, yeah, that's the solution that we got, was to overcome the world, right? And to seek the kingdom of heaven. And where do we learn the kingdom of heaven is? The kingdom of heaven is within you. Right? Because we're living in the time of revelations right now. What's a revelation? Things being revealed, things coming to the fore, things are really ramping up so that, those of you who weren't aware of the world that we live in, you're becoming very aware of things now. You're going, whoa, wait a minute. Like, what is all this stuff going on, right? And the thing is, if we want to find peace, joy, contentment, right? This is humans, right? We all want to find that peace, that joy, that contentment. And those of us who are on the spiritual path, we find that in God, and we find that on the spiritual path. Literally read the book of Revelations last night in full for the first time ever. I saw your comment there. Tell us about what you noticed. You're like, whoa, this is weird. How did someone know to write about 2021 in this book? Many people say, it's because God told you so. And God told them to do it. For me, I'm like, well, it's because it's happened in humanity many, many times over. Like, you know, what we're going through in history right now is, it's an open book test. Like, the playbook has already been done before. It's already out there. It's no big secret, right? So yeah, when we want to find that peace, that joy and contentment, those of us in the spiritual path, we find it on the path of spirit, or some people find it in God, whatever that means to them. But in the Luciferian world, right, in the upside down, people go looking for those things to bring them peace, right? They go looking in food. They go looking for it in Netflix, right? We go looking for it in hoarding. We go looking for it in pornography, right? We go looking for it in alcohol, dating apps, social media, and whatever it is. And the thing about those things, right, in the Luciferian world, is that when you go looking for peace and joy within those things, what they actually do is they take it away. They give you the illusion of it, right? Because pleasure is the illusion of peace, right? So they give you the illusion that you're offering it, right, in that moment, and they actually take it away. And they take it away more and more and more over time, right? That's the trick. That's how you got. And, you know, the thing about that too is, when you have, if you want to know how to beat Satan in the world, right? Because you have these people now, and by the way, I was included in this. When I talk about, you know, people doing things and stuff like that, I come here and I talk about things that I argue, that I wrestle with within myself, and revelations that I'm having, you know? So yeah, thank you all for your comments there. I try to keep up with you. Can we get the likes up? This is amazing. Hey, let me know where you're tuning in from around the world and where you're watching it. Like, this is my living room, a corner of my living room. I have a really gorgeous scene behind me. Many of you who follow me on Instagram have seen that. So yeah, let me know. So now the way you beat Satan in the world, right? How do you beat Satan in the world? What you're going to see when you look around you is people who are still living in the upside down. They're still living in the Luciferian paradigm. So to them, what that means is fighting and overthrowing the government, right? Or they think it is beating the Republicans, or beating the Democrats, or defeating the SJWs. I can't lie, that was me. That was me at one point. East Coast USA at my office desk. Nice. Watching from Peru while working in my remote office space. Remote office space. Your car. Just joking. That's awesome. Peru. Wow. And other people in the States like me. I'm in the States now too, guys. I live in Montana now. I never thought I'd be a refugee from my own country of Canada. But I am. Yes! I love your little emojis. So that's what we think. That's what people living in this Luciferian ideal, that's what we think. We think the way to beat Lucifer is to beat those people over there. To catch the, oh gosh, I hate having to censor. To catch the podiatrist files. The child people, if you know what I mean. We need to catch them. Oh, we need to catch the you-know-who's in Afghanistan. This is what we have to do. This is how we defeat evil in the world. What did I tell you? What did I tell you that Jesus told me? Seek first the kingdom of heaven. Where's the kingdom in heaven? Within. So if you want to beat Satan from ruling you in this world, if you want to stop Satan from ruling the world, stop Satan from ruling you. Stop Satan from ruling your home. Right? So if you're buying into the Luciferian ideals of diving into gossip, negativity, whatever it is, shopping, food, fear, news media, you're not allowing for the Holy Spirit to enter into your space. You need silence and quiet for that. If every time you get, and that's how you build a relationship, right? As you know, I've been recently married and, really working and learning. We're working and learning on things that people just really do not learn about how to build a relationship. So when you have a relationship, if anytime, you're upset, you immediately run. Let's say you want to have a relationship with someone. So let's say you want to have a relationship with God or the Holy Spirit. So anytime something is wrong, anytime you feel cut off from God or the Holy Spirit, whether that's in the form of fear or anxiety or stress or depression, and instead of going to God with that, you immediately run into gossiping, negativity, Netflix, social media, food, shopping, prawns, prawns in the ography on the internet, okay? You immediately run to that. You're creating a relationship with that. You're creating a relationship with the Luciferian ideal, and you're not allowing for that other relationship to enter in. And the thing that really sucks about that too is that you lose your opportunity to find out who you are, because that's really one thing that I think that's the greatest luxury in this lifetime, is to be able to develop that relationship with the divine and live it out through your life. Love this topic. I needed this. Oh, that's so great. Thank you, Jerry Style. Yeah, so the Greeks called it telos, right? Aristotle believed that all humans, it was like finding out the end goal of every living thing, right? So if you look at an acorn, that is the beginning. Within that acorn exists the oak tree. So there are people, there is so many different philosophies. So there are people that could look at that and say, yeah, the end goal of being a baby is to become a human, right? Alan Watts. The goal of a human is just to be a human, to be alive. Our consciousness is, you're existing as a human is like a wave existing on the ocean, That's your life, right? But I think within the new age that we're kind of coming into, with the way that our brains have developed, with how easy life has become for modern humans, a lot of us are really desiring something more. We need to have some kind of a purpose in our lives. And I think, yeah, that's something that can take away our peace. So, and when you're not on that purpose in your life, it's very easy to get drawn into the Luciferian ideals, right? It's very easy to go watch Netflix for hours or jump on social media for hours when you don't have a burning desire, a passion, something that you're actualizing out in the world, that brings you personal fulfillment and that makes the world a better place, right? It's very easy to get drawn in by that. And so those of us who are on the path of spirit, we know that we require a discipline to maintain. We require a discipline to maintain, to keep us out of that paradigm. And it's so easy to fall into without those things in place. Yeah. So that's kind of, I don't know, what I've kind of got going on right now. And I've recently also been thinking about, I've been thinking about so many things. I think about so many deep things and about humans all the time. I'm just obsessed with that. I never get bored of noticing these things and thinking about them. I was thinking about how, and I've been thinking a lot about parenting, because it really frustrates me. I don't like, I'm not sure. It might be because I've been becoming more aware of my own sensitivity and, re-exploring my childhood and the experiences from that. But I really, really notice a lot of children getting hurt by the parenting they experience. And so I've really just been exploring that and thinking about how these people and how it just plays out over and over and over again in families. And you can see it starting on some really young children. They're just getting these beliefs and these ways of being in their head from their parents who haven't done any work on themselves and who are instilling their limiting beliefs on these children. And I was thinking, what is one of the highest good a parent could possibly do for their child? And for me, I think it would be to want for God's will for the life of their child to come through. Familiar spirits and demons. I have to tell you something. I'm a skeptic. I know it sounds weird. Some of you know this, but I am kind of a skeptical person. Okay. I've had many extremely strange spiritual, borderline religious experiences that I try to talk myself out of. But they've been increasing. I've had an increasing number of them over the past year and a half. And it's not random things. It's very specific, intentional things that I experience. But I'm actually going to make a video about that. I'm getting the chills thinking about it because there's something I really need to tell you guys about that, okay? I'm glad that you guys are aware of the damn demons, okay? Because it's not a joke. It's not a metaphor. Yeah. I've experienced angels in life and I've experienced demons as well. And I'm talking literally. So, and I kind of laugh because, to be honest, I could get into this whole thing. I could get into a whole talk about demons, but there's nothing to be afraid of, really. Yeah, you don't have to be afraid of them. Just be on your game, like I told you, and watch for the negative voices in your head. Right? That's how they get to you, and through the temptations. I went to some really dark places over the past year and a half during all of this nonsense that we're going through with the world. And I have to tell you something very weird. I have alcoholism in my family. I've never struggled with it, but my younger brother did really badly. And I grew up around it because of my mother's boyfriends. But it's never really been a problem for me. This past year and a half, I remember at a really, really low point, some kind of influence coming through to me randomly, just like, you should just go get some alcohol. And I remember thinking, what the? Like, you know how you have like thoughts that come in your head that you're familiar with? People have families of demons carrying forward generations. Exactly. But you know how you have thoughts in your head that you're familiar with? So your thoughts that you're familiar with might be like, I should go, like for me, I was like, oh, I should go into town today and go check the mail. That's like a familiar thought. Or like, oh, I should, I'm going to sit down and do some writing, or some kind of noticing things about humans. Like a thought like, I should go get some alcohol to drink. That's not a thought coming from me. That's not a thought that I ever have. And I remember when I when I first got that, I was like, what? I'm like, no. And then it came a little bit stronger and a little bit stronger. Yeah, I'm gonna go get some alcohol. It's not a big deal. It'll help me feel better, help me get through. Excuse me? I don't think like that. I never think like that. That's not how. And I just remember just being completely bewildered by this train of thinking that just popped into my head like that. And thinking, yeah, I'm really glad that that's not something that it's just such a foreign thought to me that I rejected it completely. And I look back on that and I just think, man, there's a reason why they call it spirits. People who are in the spirits all the time, I'm telling you, you got to watch it. It's not, that's how these influences can get to you. And I have a story about that too. I'm going to make an entire video about demons, dude, guys. I'm going to make a video about demons. It's important. So yeah. And so I was talking about the voice of the enemy in your head. That's what will keep you from being on your purpose. So oftentimes we may think like, you might have that thing that you really want to do, and then you'll start getting voices in your head dissuading you from doing it, right? Telling you, oh, people are going to make fun of me. Oh, I'm not good enough at this yet. Or, procrastinate on it. Or, oh, I'll do it. I'll go do that when I lose weight and I look better. Or, oh, I'll start once I buy this course, and you never plan on buying it, right? Stuff like that. That's the voice of the enemy. That's not, that's not a godly voice. And those are things that keep a lot of people from their purpose in life, which helps bring meaning and joy and true contentment to their life. And that's how they get you. That's part of their game too. So you really want to turn off those voices. A lot of us are going to be having voices in our heads right now too about fear. That's another one. That's another one. I'm glad you like my hair. I've been doing it at home myself for the past year and a half. I'm proud of that. I'm becoming more self-sufficient in so many ways, but I had to leave my hair guy back in Calgary. And I'm not going to find anyone in Montana. So thank you anyway. Thank you for that. So yeah, when we hear that fear coming into our head, they can feed off of that. They get energy from that. If you look up many ancient Indian religions talked about, it's called loosh. It's like energy, negative energy that they can just feed off of. It's messed up. It's weird. But like I said, it's okay. It's normal. It's to be expected. It's not to be outraged. We're living in Satan's realm. That's what this earth is. So that's what goes on here. Horrible things like that. So when you get that voice of fear in your head, you need to immediately banish it. All right? And because what that does is it will start to trigger the fight or flight in your brain. And when your fight or flight in your body gets triggered, you're not thinking from your frontal lobe, right? The part of your brain that it has complex thoughts that can really kind of weigh and measure things, that has compassion and empathy, that, it helps you make purposeful, meaningful choices in life. Oh no, no. That's not where you're thinking and acting and making decisions from. You're making those decisions from, the energy shunts to the part of your brain that's very ancient, that helped us to survive in a very harsh environment, okay? And so that's the do or die. That's where all of your wonderful subconscious programs are located, okay? So when you're in that fear paradigm, your subconscious programs are going to come up. And for a lot of us, we grew up in parents who were entrenched, unfortunately, in the world, right? They were not deeply in spirit. And this does not mean that they were religious. Oh, let us all pray for the deeply religious people that have rained demons and Luciferian ideals onto their children with fear, with negativity, with controlling. What's the most beautiful thing a parent can do for their child? To raise them to follow what God's will brings to them into their life, not to try to impose their idea of God's will on their child. How demonic is that? That ruins people. That breaks children. For me, I'm never going to be a parent, but if I was, my goal would be to raise my child healthy, to follow the voice of God, so that God's will for them would activate through their life, not my will for them, right? That's what Jesus taught us. Thy will be done, not my will be done, not my parents' will be done, right? You remember there were times someone wrote about where someone came and they're like, your mother and your brothers are waiting for you. And he was like busy preaching and doing his thing. And he's like, who are my mother and my brothers? These people are like, he was like not even listening, you know? And I always loved that. I'm like, that's really, I would be so proud if I was that was my son, who's like, leave me alone, mom. I'm on my game right now, I'm going for God. I'm doing my thing, I'd be like, okay. I saw a Sam Vaknin video and he was talking about how that was one of the greatest things that a parent can give their child is the mother. He's like that. I think he talked about the 3 things that a good mother gives her child, and I think one of them was roots. No, it wasn't. It was like a foundation, and one of them was, she pushes them away. That was one of the final ones. He's like, he holds them close, comforts them. The other one was push them away, right? That's like the baby robin that pushes the babies out of the nest so that they can fly. What you're seeing, if you're raised in parents who are living in the Luciferian ideal, even if they're under religion and they got full of fear, you have these moms that want to cling on to their children in a death grip and enforce their will on their children instead of the will of God, right? Or their idea of the will of God onto a child, which is their will, right? It's horrible. I've seen this so many times. So many times I've seen this. It's terrible. It's very evil. And it's not what's best for children. I've been following this really gorgeous woman on Instagram called They Call Me Mama Bennett. Look her up. She's been talking about gentle parenting, and it's just really been speaking to my soul. It's like, she's just really talking about how to raise your children to be healthy people by treating them with respect. You don't demand respect from a child. You treat them with respect, right? You don't teach a child not to hit by hitting them. You don't teach a child not to yell by yelling at them. This world that we live in is just backwards, man. It's so backwards. And that's okay. That's how it's supposed to be, right? We're ruled by Satan and Lucifer. That's the world we live in. That's how it's supposed to be. Hey, Veronica. So that's kind of what I am on today, on what I've been thinking about. And another thing, for those of you who are like wondering what I was talking about Jesus and Satan. I told you guys I'm not religious. I was raised in a religious tradition, but I come from multiple, but mainly 2 different cultural backgrounds, which have 2 different religious aspects. So there'd be, the Indian religions and the Christian religions. So for me, I was kind of looking for truths in both of them. And I found someone who really kind of broke it down really well, which was Napoleon Hill, Interview with the Devil. Go find that audiobook. It is free on YouTube. It is so damn good, okay? I'm sad that I didn't write it, okay? Great book. Yes, that's right. You all know what I'm talking about. Satan's the ruler of this world. It says, yes, that's right. Veronica says families, Parents confuse fear with respect. Exactly, right? When you are living in fear, you're living out of that tiny little part of your brain that's going to make you make bad decisions in life. And that's something that I've had to deal with, that I'm still dealing with, is when I made decisions from the fear-based part of my brain that's filled with the subconscious programs. Then you find yourself in more of hell. And then you have to find a way out again, you know? And I think that's a lot about living an aligned life, is when you can align your life by making choices from the good part of your brain, the good part of your brain is accessed when you're not in the fear, when you're not engaging in the Luciferian patterns in life. So you're not watching the TV and the news. You're not watching the prawns in the ographies. Okay, and you're not obsessed with social media. You're not out there shopping. You're not out there overeating, right? Consumption, moderation. I like reading testimonies. Thank you, Veronica. I'm glad you love them. You all better put some likes. We're at 24. Oh, okay, that's a pretty decent ratio for how long I've been on. I think we can get more. Let's get the likes up. Come on, come on. Okay, okay. All right, it's looking good. So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Yes. So yeah, I'm getting back into the Stoics. Marcus Aurelius. I'm getting back. I had a copy of Meditations. I remember bringing it on the plane to Montana, because I remember thinking, I had to leave my Jeep at home. I had to leave like a lot of my stuff at home, my ring light, y'all. And I remember thinking, let me just bring, the things that that will help me get through a difficult time, or the things that I just like kind of really want or need. And I remember bringing that in my carry-on. And now I have no idea where it's gone. And I hate rebuying things. I don't like having too many things. They start to weigh me down. I have too many things right now. I'll have to do a giveaway of a bunch of things on my channel. I'm always trying to give stuff away, sell things. Yeah, so I feel like that's kind of all I wanted to say today, really. I think I'll have more ideas. What's really funny is I had a great idea, like I'm gonna come on here and I'm gonna talk for 2 hours, so that way my video, my live will be at the top of the screen, the top of the subscriber thing, and everyone will get a chance to watch. But now I'm like, girl, you can't talk for just 2 hours. You can't talk for 3 hours straight, I'm telling myself. So I don't know, it's kind of funny. I need to write and script more things. Because otherwise I feel like I would just go on and on. Well, thank you for asking me a question to keep me on here. How do you like Montana? That's a really good question. Okay, so I'll say when I first moved here, I was obsessed with it. I was like, I feel like I should have lived here my whole life. I love Montana. Right? That's because I was coming from Calgary, which was crowded as all hell. Okay. Did you know that Montana, the entire state of Montana, has less of the population of the city of Calgary alone? So there's the province of Alberta. So a province in Canada is kind of like a state in the United States. So Calgary is just one city in the province of Alberta. It's not even the capital city. Edmonton is a much larger city, and there's like tons of other cities. So then you have Montana, but the entire population of Montana is less than just the city of Calgary. And when I first came here, I loved that. I was like, you know what? No, I'm so sick of people. You can see out this one window. I've got this beautiful view. Like I just need to get away from people. The crime was off the hook, and before the pandemonium started, you're welcome. Thank you for joining. Let me get the likes up. Aww. I live in Calgary. Some days it feels like hell on earth. I know. Before the pandemonium started, I got to Calgary, and truth be told, I was coming from living in the mountains. So it was already really overwhelming to me. You know, I'm a highly sensitive person. I have extrasensory perception, everything. And so a lot of things hit me really strongly. And I'm not really a person who's suited to living in the big city, but I was getting so lonely living out in the mountains. So yeah, I moved to Calgary, and I knew right away that the vibe was bad and something was off. I saw all kinds of strange petty crime that I had never really seen before. I grew up in the capital city of Alberta, which is Edmonton. And I mean, you didn't lock your doors. Kids ran and played up and down the street. You know, you left your bikes outside on your little thing. Yeah, so I don't mean to be that person who's like the old days, but I kind of am that person a little bit. But you know, it's okay. I'm here for this journey in life, and I can take what comes. But yeah, I remember I had this one time where I was pulled over in this like nice residential neighborhood, just that had like it was like the edge of a nice residential neighborhood that had like a gas station. And was tired, right? So I just thought, you know, I'm gonna take a minute. I just leaned my chair back in my vehicle, and had the window rolled halfway down. I was just kind of like resting my eyes for a moment. You know, I have to take breaks from input a lot of times. And suddenly I got this weird feeling. And I sat back up, and there was a man right there outside the door. And his eyes were like zoomed in into my car, because I guess I still had the keys in there. And his hand was about to come in, because he couldn't see me because I was like down. And when I sat up, he quickly just walked off, like he initially hadn't even planned on doing that. Calgary has something evil about it. Yeah, 100%. Unfortunately. So does this world, right? We're living in the upside down world. We're living in the Satan's paradigm. He's the ruler of this world. That's why you see all this stuff that you see. That's why these true crime channels are taking off. You just hear about the most horrible things happening to children that honestly, I cannot, in my mind, I just think, and this is something I used to struggle with. I used to think, you know, if there's a God, why do these horrible things happen to children? Like things that I can't even fathom the atrocity of happening to children. How does that happen? And I came to this really interesting realization. And I want you to if you imagine for a moment. So first of all, not only is this world ruled by Satan, so it's literally hell. It's also the theater of the absurd, right? So we're watching something play out here. So if you imagine that you went into a movie theater and you sat down in the theater and you saw someone committing a crime on the screen. So you stood up and you said, "Hey, look, there's a criminal. Someone called the police. He's gonna get away. Look!" And you're pointing at the screen. Everybody would just think you're nuts, right? They're like, "What are you doing?" You know? Well, when we're in this reality, and we're pointing at all the other things out there, and we're going, oh, look at this, the horrible thing happened to that person, and look at this thing going on in the world, I don't like it, look at that, look at that. The higher beings are looking at us in that same way, like, huh? Like, that's the theater you're watching. It's the theater of the absurd. So, and when you think about it, when you go into a movie, you don't go to sit there and watch the movie because you want to sit there and go, oh, that's real, or that's fake, that's not real. Oh, that's not, that person didn't really die. That person who's dying in the movie is not really dead. They're $1 million. They made millions of dollars. They're an actor. Oh, that's special effects. No, you don't. You go because you want to be transformed. You want to suspend your judgment for a small period of time and be taken in and feel the emotions and go through the journey. And that's what we do when we come into this world, when we come into life. We're here to suspend our knowingness of who we really are and where we come from. We're suspending that so we can be in this theater of the absurd, and it can have an effect on us. And it's really hard to comprehend that. And the thing is that there's another element to it, and that's not, we're just here to look at, and be affected by. Not really. It's kind of like an interactive movie. We can have an impact on the outcome of things. What we do matters. And to me, I've always seen life as kind of like a great story. And we can impact the story. We don't have to be bystanders, right? I saw G. Light saying, I think the Earth is a hologram. It's not the real Earth. Yeah. Some of us have had experiences where we have experienced realities or seen, quote unquote, seen things when our physical eyes were closed. How can we see anything if our eyes are closed, right? Like people have near-death experiences, like myself. Or even when we dream, you're looking at something in a dream, your eyes are closed. How does that work? What's going on there? So, yeah, it's really interesting when we think about these things, and they're really coming to the fore during this time. Yeah. And one thing, too, thanks for that great question. If I could change how public school would treat children, I have been actually, that's really made you ask that, Veronica. I was actually just thinking about that. Was it yesterday on my walk? Yeah, it was yesterday. I was thinking, what things could we teach children? Because you know what, you guys, I always kind of wanted the damn collapse of the school system. Look at what the school system did to the children on the residential schools in the past. Thousands and thousands of children have been uncovered. Is there a serial killer investigation being launched? No. I can't really touch that right now, as you see. But the school system is collapsing. People are waking up to what's going on, and they're pulling their kids out of the school. They're realizing there is something more important than keeping my kid in this system right now. And I just love that. I think it's so beautiful. Now they're like, wait, okay, like what's the purpose of my child's life? What would my child be going forward? Like what, they're thinking these questions that they probably didn't think before, right? Because what is the school system now? It's daycare. It's daycare and indoctrination, right? That's all it is. It's like, we'll give you free daycare if you let us indoctrinate your child for 12 years straight, right? Obey the authority and be silent. Exactly. And why? And the thing is, it starts. Many people look at it now. They're like, no, like I have friends who are teachers, And do I think that a teacher is an evil person who got in this job because they want to control children? Well, there's some like that, and I, I grew up with them. But no, and generally, these people just inherited themselves into a system that started a really long time ago, and they never really questioned who invented the system and why they invented it, right? As I've talked about before, it was invented to create factory workers. That's it. They want to occupy much of your brain, right? So that's why they keep you working for as long as possible. But they know they have to give you a little bit of time so you can spend the money that you make just enough so that you feel some kind of contentment in life with the Luciferian nonsense. So the prawns and the ographies on the internet, the Netflix, and drinking and all that kind of stuff. They gotta make a little vacation here and there. They gotta make you feel like you're getting something out of it, so you'll keep working, right? And not, and yeah. So I think it's all messed up, and that's the exciting thing. This is one thing that I was thinking about. Like, this system previously was not working for me, okay? Was it working for any of you? The bread and the circuses, exactly. Was any of that working for any of you? Was the system working for you all? No. So now that it's collapsing, we can freak out about it and be upset, or we can be like, you know what? This system is collapsing, and from the rubble, we can make something much better. And I was thinking, what could I offer for parents who are taking their kids out of school that would help them now? And I'm thinking about things like emotional regulation, talking about emotions, learning communication, learning like attachment styles at a really young age, having like attachment type conversations, journaling for children so they start learning to hear their inner voice. Oh man, I would love that. Talking to children about their feelings so they don't have to grow up into adults who have to manipulate, who have to hide their feelings. So they get to like 50 and 60 and they have this intense well of emotions, no way to communicate it, and just a bunch of coping mechanisms to control people and try to keep their world the way they want it. Oh, nasty. Thanks for that good question, Veronica. So I've been thinking about that myself. Do I have the energy to work with children? No, okay? I like kids on a short-term basis, okay? But I have the energy to be obsessed with what would be best for them and how to help them so they can become healthy adults. Because I became obsessed with finding that out for myself, like what happened to me and how to fix what happened to me now that I'm an adult. So if you follow me like on Instagram, which you should, by the way, because I'm going to be, I've been cutting everything off from my Facebook. I've been printing out my Facebook so that I can have a literal book one day when Facebook is gone, the way of MySpace, which hopefully will be sooner than later. And I can look back and flip it and be like, wow, look, this is what Facebook was like when I'm 80 years old. People were like, what was that? Just the way people are like, MySpace, what was that? I was on MySpace too. I don't have any record of MySpace. So yeah, so if you follow me on Instagram, I follow a lot of people who talk about parenting, gentle parenting. And you might think, why the hell is Adele interested in parenting? Because Adele's not having children. It's because I'm just honestly very, very drawn to it. Also, it's very, very calming to my inner child when people post examples of how they talk to their children. There's this woman who's raising a highly sensitive son. So he like cries and he has these big, deep emotions and he's really concerned about animals and other people. And, for me, for me, when I was a kid, like, oh, I was alone in that, They just don't know, and they don't know that they don't know. So, yeah, I think this is a great awakening. I see you talking about Edmonton and wondering what it did to your pineal gland. I have so many thoughts down and but yeah, I yeah, exactly. Yeah. And I used to think I want to educate the parents, and I was like, no, that's really touchy. That's for someone who's less blunt than me. I think I could create and organize the materials and then find the right people to teach it and to work with the children. That would be great. That would make me so happy. And there are some kids that I really like. Um, yeah, my husband's nephew, he has a nephew. He has a couple nephews that I just really like. Exactly. The parents do need more education than the kids. I saw the worst thing one time. Um, I was leaving the library. Most of my stories revolve around a library of some kind. So I was leaving the library. There was a woman who had this baby, and the girl was like the age where they can stand, but they can't stand on their own for too long. So this kid was maybe like a year and a half, and she was like saying something and like trying to point at something, and the mom's like, "No, I told you, like, don't do that. Why are you doing it?" And she was yelling, like yelling. And then she goes, "Geez, learn some patience." At a year and a half year old yelling. I honestly, I stood there, my mouth was just open. Like I was just in shock. I couldn't believe it. But can you imagine that? A grown woman impatiently yelling at her kid to learn patience. Where do you think she's gonna learn patience from, you witch? Jeez. I've had times when there are parents like that, right? Into their and you know what? I have had times when I've confronted parents in public. There are times when I just reacted out of anger. I used to have real issues with anger years ago. And yeah, I've gone through, and now I have issues with the sadness. But I used to have issues with anger. I've confronted parents angrily when they were yelling at their children. And then there were times when I confronted just the child. Like I would kind of ignore the adult. I'd kind of make eye contact with the adult and then just go to the child and be like, "Are you okay?" I'd be like, "Oh," or you know, if kids throw tantrums or they scream and cry, sometimes I go up to them in public, and their parents will be ignoring them or saying stop, stop, and I'll go up and I'll go, and I'll make like a funny face and I'll throw a tantrum with them, and they usually like look at me like, "What the hell?" They get confused, but I see a child throwing a tantrum as an opportunity for me to throw a tantrum too, and it feels really good. The kids immediately stop, like, "What the hell?" If I had a kid and they were throwing a tantrum, I would get down with them. I'd throw a tantrum too. I'd be like, "This world sucks. It's really difficult. I know." I would do the same thing. And we would just have a tantrum together. And I wouldn't care what anyone thought. That's one thing, man. I have so many weird stories. Those of you who've been following me on Instagram, I post things on Instagram that I don't post anywhere else. And I talk about the weird interactions I have with strangers in public, of which I have many. Okay? I talked about a guy called the fire department on me when I was in my vehicle. Go on my Instagram and you can watch them, okay? I'm uploading one where a lady tried to insinuate that I stole my visit at at a state park, and it bothered me. So I went on my hike, and then I went back and confronted her, and I took a video of it secretly. Go on my Instagram, and you'll be able to watch these things. Okay? I am the glitch in the Matrix. All right? I am the spirit of Loki. I am chaos. I am unpredictable. I am mischievous. I am playful in this world. And if you run into me, it's a wild card for you. That's one thing about being a highly disagreeable woman is, yeah, social norms aren't really, they're not really something I'm into in general. So, oh yeah, yeah, I was talking about Montana. So the population of Montana is extremely small. Yeah, exactly. I was going to go to Utah last week because it was so hot and wonderful. That's why kids and youth love me. They like me, but they're also a little bit scared of me. They're like, this person doesn't act like a normal adult. What's up with that? And I just didn't feel it in my heart. Something was telling me not to go. I had a weird feeling about it. And so I didn't. I didn't feel like doing all the driving. So yeah, I stayed and I traveled around Montana. And I was looking for like things to do, like meetup groups or like a pottery class or like something. And there was like literally nothing for like a week. Although we did go to this really wonderful symphony under the stars where it was a symphony playing 80s music under the stars in Helena a while back. And that was really nice. That was so nice. Fireworks. I don't really care for fireworks, but I liked it. And though, of course, I did get all existential. I'm sitting there with all these 80s songs, and I know the words to every single song. And then I start to get irritated. I'm like, I don't like the fact that I don't know a mantra or my life purpose or my goals off by heart, that I can just rattle it off over and over again. But I know all these chintzy songs that are in my brain. They're in your head. They're these earworms. So I was thinking, what would be really great is to run so far away. I'm like, some of these songs, I think they're still in my brain from like, oh, when I was a kid. But yeah. Hey, Valerie. Aw. Good to see you. I hope you feel better. Billings. I go to Billings. Sorry. I don't know it. But yeah, so that's another thing that I want to work on. Think in the store and you hear, what are these songs? The rest is still unwritten. All these stupid songs. Whenever I go into the city and I like to go shopping and go groceries and go look around and stuff, I come away and I have all these dumb songs in my head that I know of all the time. And I'm like, why do I know these stupid chintzy songs that some clown wrote that I don't even care about? But but can I also, if someone comes to me and says, what's your life goal? What's your purpose? What's your mission? What are your beliefs? Can I go, oh, la, 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 and like tell you what they are? No, I can't. And that's way more important. There's some things that I know offhand, like some Stoic quotes or like the Lord's Prayer or like things that I just know that I went over and over again as a kid. But this is what I want to be able to do. I want someone to be able to say like, what is your life mission? What is your purpose? And I want to have it ingrained in my mind. So it's just over and over and over and over and over again. Or like, what do you believe about yourself or humanity? You know, these are things we can do. And I'm actually going to make flashcards for it. Remember we learned flashcards? You learned multiplication tables using flashcards. Let's learn some important things with flashcards, okay? All the things I taught you in school, it just makes me so irritated thinking about all the stuff I wasted time on. So that my mom 12 years of free babysitting, quote unquote free. Man, I was a cog in the system in school. I'm making videos about it. I mean, not a cog. I was a stick in the wheel of the cogs in my school. See, they didn't educate me about wheels properly. I don't know how they work. Okay. Go and get the likes up. Likes. Look, I went over an hour. This is impressive for me. Yes, helping people to unlearn things and relearn things. This is what I've been doing in my marriage coaching course. It's been amazing, but oh man, it's about learning about yourself. Hey Morgan, thank you for saying I inspire you. I love that. And thanks for spelling my name right. I know autocorrect will try to switch it. But my name existed before the singer Adele with one L. I got my name before autocorrect and Bill Gates decided it should only be spelled with one L. I got named after Adele Davis, the nutritionist from the 80s. Wow, A. Marie, unlearning how to be raised by a wolf. Very interesting that you put that. That is extremely interesting because I actually, in the marriage course that I took, we learned our attachment styles and he labeled them like he gave them animals. And I learned mine is the wolf style. And people who have like the wolf attachment style, they're people who came from a traumatic, chaotic background when they were kids, right? So they were people who were raised around alcoholics. They got hit, they got yelled at. Maybe there was sexual abuse, physical abuse, emotional abuse, right? And so the way it determines how you react in relationships later in life. So when you're a kid and you experience that, you learn to associate love with pain, right? Because you still are going to love and attach to your parent as a kid, but when they're the one that's hurting you, it just wires it together in your brain, love and pain. Our moms have some similarities. Oh, I'm going to be talking way more about this. It's something that's so important to me because I know there's so many of you out there who've dealt with this, who don't talk about it for whatever reasons. I mean, honestly, I feel more comfortable doing it because my mom is dead. I mean, I don't know if I'd be doing this if she were still alive. Oh, this is reminding me of so many things. I have relatives who reached out to me who were like, I saw the video you made about my sister. I'm going to make a video about that. So yeah, and so you also learn in relationships when you're raised in a wolf environment, you learn to hit the gas and hit the brake at the same time. Think of what happened if you drove a car by pressing the gas and the brake at the same time. Oh gosh, that engine would just completely run out. And so if you learn your attachment styles, you can learn your patterns in relationships and also in friendships. And yeah, this program, it's been really, really beneficial for me, but it hit me like a ton of bricks. Like it just clobbered me. And it was so intense. The coach was really, really, really good. His name is Bruce Music, spelled with Z, Music. He was really amazing. Oh, you're welcome. So yeah, like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of all the things that I can do. During this time. And it's really exciting. I think, you know, I've often wondered, how can I actually know whether God or religion or whatever is real or not? As many of you know, I quote from the Bible often, but I'm aware that it was written by men. And if you look, someone wrote a Bible about what was going on today, and people read it thousands of years from now, and they just said, God told me to write this. It'd be very biased. I still don't even know what happened at the Capitol when people stormed the Capitol in the United States. I still literally have no idea what actually that is about. I have no idea what happened. I was like, I try to find, I can't even get a straight story on it. I literally don't know what happened. Because just everyone's going nuts and like saying, this happened, that happened, this happened, that happened. I'm like, these are completely conflicting stories. How do I know what actually happened? So as for something that happened thousands of years ago, I don't know. So for me, I think what's really important is because we were born into this world, we don't come with a manual. We don't actually have something, straight from God that says, hey, Adele, you're born into this shitty family because of this, that, and the other, and here's what I want you to do in life, and it's going to be really difficult, but here's what you have to do. I don't have that, okay? So I think it's beneficial anyway to choose to live as if God were real, and as if there is a purpose to my life. And if I create and live my life as if there is a purpose, and as if God is real, I think that my life will be better than if I didn't do that. but I am really curious. Like there is that side of me that really wants to know the truth. And I remember when I left the church when I was rather young, I remember saying to God, like, you put this mind and this spirit and this brain in me that always sought for the truth. And that was why I didn't get caught up in the environment that I grew up in, where my mother told me, like, all these rotten things about myself. And, that's why when the teachers tried to tell me, oh, you have dark skin and you're a woman, you're oppressed and disadvantaged. That's why I didn't believe that. I didn't believe it. I was like, whatever, you do your thing. I don't want to hear that. Get that out of me. Thank you. Right? Because of the good mind that God gave me. So I told God, you gave me this mind. So I'm going to go out and seek a relationship with God in the world with this beautiful mind you gave me. And if I'm wrong, then lead me to truth. And to be honest, I keep getting led to a truth over and over again that God is real. That's not the truth that I wanted. That's not the truth that I wanted. But yeah, so I keep hanging in there. And yeah, I'm gonna be. I have some good videos that I'm coming out with. Where's my mic? I hope my mic has been good this whole time. I only find out till after, or if someone complains. So yeah, hit me up on Instagram. Veronica and Valerie, both B's. I know you guys are usually on Facebook. Get on my Instagram because my Facebook is going bye-bye for good very soon. So, yeah. I made it to 71 minutes. Okay. I wanted to go for an hour and 20. But yeah, we'll have to try that again another time. Can we get the likes up though? If I get more likes, I'll stick around for a little while longer. I'm going to watch it. And if the likes go up, I'll stick around for a little while longer. Just a little while. What else can we talk about? Oh yeah, I didn't finish talking about Montana. I can't like it twice. Or I don't like it twice because they'll take the like away. This was fun. I'm glad I caught you live. Yeah, thanks. Me too, Treasure Rose. Why would you not want that truth that God is real? The other options have faith in that not being the case and not the bet you want it to be real. Well, I kind of wanted to feel like, no, you're just a product of evolution. You don't have any responsibilities. You can kill yourself if you want and it doesn't matter. Like I honestly wanted this the easiest answer to my suffering in life. I wanted to know that these horrible things happen because there is no God. That's why. It was like a comfort to know that. And I think a lot of people are like that. They would rather accept an easy answer than an uncomfortable, unknowing, right? That's faith, right? They would much rather, and what's kind of funny about that is religious people are like that too. They just want an answer and they want to stick to the answer and that's it. They don't actually have a personal relationship with God. They've never had that tested. They've never really sought anything out for themselves. And I don't think that's not the path for me. Oh yeah, so I wanted to finish talking about Montana. So yeah, there's nothing going on in Montana. Okay. And so, little old me, I think, well, that's a great opportunity for me. But I think I've told you guys, I've tried to start some things here. And yeah, it hasn't been successful. I've looked at things that are going on and there aren't that many people. So, I don't know. David tried to start things and that nobody took the bait on that. So, yeah, I'm also thinking that with like all of the things that we're currently living through, like all of the changing regulations and everything else. And even just people who are in places where they literally can't leave, like Australia or whatever, that are under really severe lockdowns. I think that community has always been important, right? Because the opposite of addiction is not the lack of addiction, but connection, right? And many people are stuck in addictions, whether it's like with food, alcohol, prawns, on the ographies, on the internets, right? The easy things to make us feel good. Good seeing you. Prairie chickens. Yep, got those. I got some. I can see them down there now. I gotta go let them out in. So yeah, so I was thinking that, you know what? Digital connection, building communities online, this is a really great thing to be doing right now. And this is something I'm pretty good at. If I say so myself, oh, my likes got up. Thank you, guys. If they get up even more, I can stay longer. So yeah, I that's kind of like the new project I'm thinking about. I know Veronica had mentioned to me about book club, and that has stuck with me. I was like, that's a great idea. Of course, I wanted to do one in person here, and I was like, I know it's not going to fly, so I'm going to do it online. I'm going to start an online Zoom book club. Many of you know that I also participate in Codependent Anonymous meetings, which are on Zoom. So you can go to coda.org and look for the online meetings and join a meeting. It's free. You can drop in at any time. There's meetings for women only. There's one tonight. Go look it up. And it's anonymous. So, I attend in an anonymous fashion. Sometimes I participate and speak. Sometimes I help out. Sometimes I don't. But that community has really gotten me through this past little while. And some other ones that I know that I'm working on and things I'm thinking of starting. I would love to have a group for women who are recovering from horrific parenting and childhoods, who are trying to get their self-esteem and their looks together in their relationships and their career. As I told you all, I tried to do those things without working on my self-image first. I remember thinking, if I just make enough money, then I can just go for therapy and I can rest and I can do it. And it didn't really work like that. It didn't. It kind of, actually, that's a lie. It did kind of work like that, but it didn't work for very long, right? It felt like treading water. And that's another thing I'm trying to reconcile. Getting involved in a career that relies on attention from other people on the internet, which is fickle. Woo, I don't know. It's not good for one's self-esteem if you come from a background like mine. Although, I don't know, it might be, so basically it helps to have something more concrete also going in real life. And also, what else was I going to say about that? Oh, and since I've been making content online since literally now over 20 years, I got on the internet when I was skipping class in high school and learning how to program websites and writing online journals and taking pictures at concerts and putting them up and stuff like that, and like getting comments from strangers around the world. You guys don't know the stuff I've seen. There was this, like when online journaling and blogs first came on in 2000, it was like so amazing. And it was like, you didn't have pictures of yourself because it was the internet. It was dangerous. People just had these little tiny thumbnails or like little avatars of themselves. And I remember there were like people who I would read their journal every day, what they were going through in their lives around the world. And, you start to create an image of what they look like in your mind and what they sound like and stuff like that. And I used to do that too. I had an audience. I've had a number of different audiences online under different names that they don't know, and then I would just disappear. This is the one I use my actual name on, and I haven't disappeared yet. But that's what I used to do. And there were people who would just get wrapped up in my story, and they would visit over and over again, and there's just a website. And it wasn't social media. And I remember when someone made this website, it was called Vivian Lives. If any of you know about Vivian Lives, you are a legend. So this thing called Vivian Lives was an artist had this idea to create these comic book-like images of this woman who was like, who lived in New York City, and she was like beautiful, and she would shop, and she had this fashion magazine editor job, and they would make pictures of her life, daily little images of her life. And you're like, ooh, like, what is she up to? And you want to go check it. That was the idea. Of course, I got bored of it. But that was like, whoever had that idea, I mean, that's what social media is now. Because it'd be like, Vivian lives at a cafe, and it was like a picture of what she was eating. Or like, oh, I went shopping, and she's like smiling and stuff. There weren't even selfies back then because cameras did not... Were there selfies before cameras on phones? This is what I'm wondering. Okay, so the likes have not gone up. I'm just joking. Like, they haven't gone up high enough, so now I'm gonna go. No. Yeah, this was actually a really fun chat. And I need to make more videos. Adele the Like Meister, sitting here shilling for likes. I'm just doing it. It's actually kind of funny. I remember, yeah, I don't want to get into YouTube gossip. There's some YouTubers who I like watching their lives, and they'll get like mad if people aren't liking enough. It's quite funny. Adele, did you have to detach from your entire family system? I surely did. 110%. Yes. Love you. Aw, thank you, Valerie. That's good to see you. I did, but my family has, yeah, they have reached out to me here and there about the things I talk about online. And we also recently found my father. He's 90 years old, y'all. So that's been interesting. Yeah, I'll have to talk about that in the future. So yeah. But yeah, I had to divorce from my entire family. I was planning on completely leaving my mother forever and never talking to her ever again. But she ended up dying that same summer. She beat me to it. Oh yeah, I was sure that my father was dead. He was a bodybuilder, and he was 50 years old when he met my mother, who was 19. And I'm going on 40 now, so I was like, he's in his 90s. I'm like, as a bodybuilder with all that, what they do with their bodies, I'm like, oh, he's long dead. But someone, I guess his son recently died, who would have been my half-brother. And he was an entrepreneur, and he looked like me, which was really crazy. I could go on and on. I ended up contacting his daughter, and she's a really cool, really wonderful young lady who had to deal with the same generational trauma nonsense that I did. A different variety of it, but same thing. So yeah, I came to realize that the path of having a family, you guys don't know how many times I have broken down in bitter tears, crying to God why everyone gets a family and I don't. And I know it's not true that everyone gets a family. I know it's true that people who have families, they suffer more than I do with the freedom that I have, not being held in by a family system or being controlled or manipulated by anybody. But like all I really like felt like I wanted my whole life was just like a mother to actually be there, a dad to actually be there. Like, don't have to be perfect people, just be like decent human beings, you know? Forget it, you know? Aw, I see that, Morgan. Yeah. And I remember, oh guys, this happened this year. I had another breakdown just like that again. And this time I was out in nature and there was like grass and there was this beautiful vista. And I was just like bawling the ugly cry. And I actually just yelled out to God, like, why don't I ever get the good thing? You know, I was like, why didn't I get a good family? Why am I here on my own? And I actually got an answer back immediately. And I'm going to send you off with this for this evening. And the answer I got back was, you are the good thing. Kind of just stopped me in my tracks. Because when I meant the good thing, I meant like, why don't I have a family that has a beautiful farm? Why don't I have a family that, you know, cares about me? Why don't I have this? Why don't I have that? You are the good thing. The good thing you're out there looking for, you are the good thing. And I can't ever lose myself unless I make that choice to abandon myself, to turn away from myself, right? Which I have done many times. That was what I learned in childhood. That's what many of us learned, right? So that's something I would love to talk to you all about more coming up. You are the good thing, and you can never lose yourself. And I'm not here for the normal experience of life, which is to have a family, exist in a family system, support each other, grow old together. That's not the life I came here for. I'm here on the spirit path, and it's a extraordinary life. It's not a typical life, and sometimes I forget that. Sometimes I get caught up in the theater of the absurd and I think it's real. And I think that I should have my story on the screen be the way that I want it to fit in with the movie. And then I remember, oh wait, I'm on the spirit path and I'm the good thing. And I can't lose myself. Yes, to the fringe dwellers. All right, everyone. Well, I hope you enjoyed this chat. It will be up later in entirety once YouTube can process it. Thank you, A-Marie. I'm the good thing, and you're your good thing. Always remember. Enjoyed this. Yeah, good to see you, Morgan. You don't have to be sorry for being late. I'm late all the time, my friend. But in the words of Kid Cudi, I'll be on time when my stars align. All right, guys. Good seeing you all. Thanks for tuning in. And I'll see you again soon.